Hello and welcome to Forever Rugby on Forever Sports. And Ian Foster is at it again. Has he taken a dig at the Springboks? Has he taken another sort of deliberate sort of interview that has conveyed his displeasure with some of the current issues with rugby and the way it's played? And I heard much of the Ian Foster post him leaving the All Blacks after losing the World Cup final. And a lot of people are quite, maybe rightfully so, are quite upset about some of the comments that he has made in this interview that he has given. So we're going to talk about some of the quotes he's said and whether he has taken a dig at the Springboks and whether what he has said has merit or whether it's just coming across as a bit of a sore loser type of thing, which is what a lot of people are saying it is. Before we do that, please do smash a like on the video. Please do subscribe to the channel as well. So the criticism that Ian Foster has is regarding ball in play time and the time it takes to finish rugby games. Now, this is not a new gripe he's had. He actually put it forward during the World Cup in terms of the ball and play time. Now, if you remember, it was just after the Ireland game. He talked about how there was so little ball in play, and for example, who wants to watch that? And the quotes were exactly word for word. If you look at the South Africa Ireland game, it was a different game of rugby. The ball was in play for 27 minutes throughout the whole game. It was a very start game, very physical, very combative. You saw a different spectacle tonight, and at some point, the world has got to decide which game it would rather watch. This is speaking after the New Zealand hammered Italy. Now, you've been watching Chase the Sun, which has sort of taken us back to those sort of games. I think probably the world will turn around and say, well, actually, we'd far rather watch the ridiculously close physical encounter between South Africa and Ireland, which lots of people sort of consider the best game, one of the best games ever, than a 10 try drubbing by the All Blacks against Italy. You probably don't want to really watch that as much as, again, they can go either way. A game that's sort of showing you the two top sides at their best going toe to toe. He's also then talked about the World Cup final. And he said the following. He said, the time that the final took is unacceptable. He said, the game understands they need to change it. So now it's how we go, how we commit to doing that. But I think the other side of the coin is that we've all got to take ownership of that. He said, coaches have to take ownership of that, and players have to take ownership of that too. We can't allow players to get to the point that they feel they can slow the game down deliberately because it was happening too much at the World Cup. He's also basically said that the proof is in the pudding with regards to the idea of slowing the game down, basically implying that that's what South Africa was doing. That sort of basically implying that the Springboks were slowing the game down to try and give themselves a reprieve, keep themselves fresh, and make themselves put themselves in a position that they can beat the All Blacks, because the All Blacks are a side that like to really sort of push teams, run them ragged, for example, and then kind of defend or attack against tired bodies. So, is it a bit of a dig against the Springboks? I definitely think it is. I think it is a certain amount of, they slowed the game down and they should be able to slow the game down. And whether that's making excuses of why they lost, I think there's far bigger reasons. Obviously the Sam Cane red card, Geordie Barrett missing the kick, for example. There were so many times when New Zealand could have won that game. So it does come across slightly as a bit of sort of sour grapes in terms of implying that it was only the Springboks that were deliberately slowing down time. This is a New Zealand side that were down to 40 men, and definitely at also stages looked to try and slow things down as well. And I think that it's one of those things that when things are not going well for you, that's when, or when you're not in the lead, for example, all of a sudden these sort of small things become much more important to you. Whereas, if the All Blacks had a 5-point lead with 10 minutes to go, they'd be taking any opportunity they could to slow the game down, to stop things, to break any momentum that the opposing side might have in trying to come back and win that game. In terms of ball and play, I do think it is, from that perspective, I do think we need to look at it. I do think that, for example, I think there's far too many interventions from like TMOs, for example, and stuff like that. I think games are taking too long to finish. Games need to be done within 2 hours of kickoff, well before 2 hours of kickoff, in my opinion. It's 80 minutes plus 10-minute breaks, call it an hour and a half. Maybe an extra 10 to 15 minutes with regards to being stop-start. I do think they need to look at that, because we have seen games where, you're well over the 2 hour mark since kickoff, they're still going on. So he's not completely wrong or completely, off the mark with regards to looking at that. But to sit there and talk about deliberate tactics being unacceptable during the World Cup final, implying that's what the Springboks did, unfortunately, from a losing coach, comes across as a bit of sour grapes. But what do you guys think? Let me know down in the comments below. Please do smash like on the video. Please do subscribe to the channel as well. And if you agree with the slow ball and play time, for example, the time that rugby is taking, what are your suggestions to try and quicken it up? Let me know down in the comments below. Please do smash like the video, as I said, and we'll see you guys all next time.